Alright, so here's what we're doing. Doing a recording right here, and I guess I don't need to. I don't know, I'll probably have a picture or something later, I guess. I wasn't able to record this um, in the camera app directly for video, but right now you're hearing audio on my brand new AirPods, and I wanted to kind of talk about a bit about how we got here, I guess. I thought this would be a fun little ramble to do. So, this kind of started when I was first getting uh, my earbuds before. Um, I was looking at getting some of these for light listening. I wanted to um, essentially listen to songs walking home from work or like long car rides because when I'm at home, I'm probably going to be listening to regular headphones. And because of that, I didn't want to get anything that was like super, like crazy, right? I didn't want to spend like over $100 on earbuds because, like, well, number one, I'm not using them a ton. And another reason is because they're not going to last forever either. Um, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you pour into them. Having like wireless earbuds it means they're going to have rechargeable batteries. So unless like you can eventually plug a cord into them, or they have user serviceable batteries with batteries easily available to replace them, you really just can't. You can't expect them to last forever, and they're a pretty limited amount of time. Whereas like you can have nice wired headphones, and if you take care of them, they essentially are going to last you pretty much forever. They will be more susceptible to just wear and tear than something like a like pivotal component failing like that. Um, the other thing um, is also that for the same like price, you're just going to get better audio out of wired headphones than you are out of Bluetooth ones. So I didn't need it to be like the top of the line thing because I know that's probably just going to be money that's like, I'm going to have to spend again if I need to replace it or something in the future. So there is that. And on the other end of the spectrum, I really didn't want to go and like, um, get something too cheap because if it was too cheap, then it would be like, well, you know, uh, if it's too cheap, uh, it's probably going to break, right? It's not going to have good build quality, and I'll have to replace it for that reason. And also, it um, I'm just having a distracted because I'm like seeing the little things popping up and down for the audio. It's not a super loud mic on this. It looks like, so I don't know how good this is going to sound. I don't know how soft I can really talk for this before it's like not even audible. I guess we'll find out in this test recording. Um, and Another thing is that they're probably going to be like not that comfortable to wear for cheap ones, and also they're probably going to be just um, not they're not going to sound that great. They're going to sound pretty bad. So it's like, is it really going to be worth the experience to have to have them feel bad and sound bad and have to replace them even more frequently because they just are terrible garbage? So I didn't want to do that either. So I decided I wanted to do something a little more in the mid range. Seemed like a safe bet. Now the thing is, um, in uh, in the mid range, it's actually interesting that this is where, unlike a lot of other devices I've looked at for like electronic stuff, this is one category of device where I feel like the mid range is um, very abundant. There's a lot of choice here. Most things I feel like have kind of gone away because of things like smartphones. They've gone, you have the cheap stuff. There's a lot of options for really cheap ones. Largely, they're the same things between each other, but you have those options. Whereas, like, also then on the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of really expensive, high end options, especially really specific ones. Um, Whereas earbuds, well, these things are kind of like, hey, there's kind of a way to do it, and so like most people just want something in the mid range that's gonna be, sound pretty good, and maybe it has a couple of extra features for them to use in particular, but all the stuff is like in the mid range. And again, once you get into the higher end of stuff, you're probably better off with, you know, wired options typically. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Um, and the thing is, like, I had no idea what to get. I was looking around and stuff, and everything looked basically the same. So I was like, well, I don't know what to get. Well, I had my friend talk to me about it, and he was like, hey, these things sound cool. And those are the Soundpeats Engine 4 earbuds, which honestly, I should try recording some audio with that as well, because I don't know. I think those have a mic, but I actually don't know now that I'm thinking about it, because I never thought about using a mic on these anyways. Um, yeah, and I got those, and I will say that as far as the earbuds go, those were some of the most comfortable ones I've used. Um, but the problem is they just um, they don't really like. Well, okay. First, I want to start off by at least being positive about them. Right, they fit in my pocket real easy. Good battery life, and the sound in those are actually really good. Um, they have enough bass to hear. They have not crazy like on the highs. It's very reasonable on the high end, and there's a lot in the mids for the sound. You hear a lot of the instruments and things happening in the music. It is surprising how good it is because you have to understand. I don't typically like these style of like things you put in your ears. Mostly, I've always had them where they feel like they're falling out, or they actually are falling out, um, or they just don't really fit in there in the first place. And granted, was using, that was years ago, using the cheap or whatever earbuds came with the thing you bought. So, that makes some sense. Um, I just haven't had really very good luck with these. But um, I've kind of gotten, using these, I started to be like that. Okay, so the Soundpeats, those are good. The Engine 4s are a lot better than that because I can get them to actually stay in my ears. They have like rubber tips on the ends of them. And the problem that I have, I think, with them though, started to kind of crop up as I was using them. Because again, they're really good. I guess I think I talked about a bit about this in the video, but as long as we're here, um, I will say that I liked them. Unlike I like that I don't need an app or anything. I can just like put them in here. I can put them in my ear, start going. I can use the controls on my phone. I don't have to tap on the sides of them or anything. But they did have a lot of stuff on the sides of like a good area around them. They kind of poke out of your ear on the side of them, but like you have a lot to grip onto to like adjust them and move them without hitting the buttons. I only ever accidentally hit the volume buttons when I'm like trying to get my hair out of the way. And because they're plug things too, sometimes they would just like plug them in there and like hair gets stuck in before them. So the problem I started encountering though is the fact that like mainly it was fit. They just weren't super comfortable and didn't fit properly. I tried all the 3 different sizes of tips they had, and I didn't think anything really quite worked right. I'm willing to say that some of that's probably user error. I probably don't know how is the best way to put in these things into your ear. Another part of it is probably like my ears might just be shaped weird for them as well. So I have to get like the right like placement and angle and stuff, and they just started getting a lot more uncomfortable. And like lately, I've been like, I kind of want something that's like not as annoying to keep cramming into my ear, and it pushes earwax in and stuff. So sometimes I plug my ear up a bit, and that's probably not good to do. If you do that too much, you can like really mess up your ears. So like, I really wanted to, I wanted to do better. If I could, I guess I kind of like the idea of like something better. I was kind of content for a while until really the thing that changed my mind, I guess, was one day. Um, oh, also another weird thing. One of them always dies before the other one, and also sometimes, basically the thing is they shut off by being put into the case and closing it. Sometimes they just decided they didn't want to disconnect from being closed into the case, so I have to go in like later and like, why isn't audio playing? And it's because it's still connected somehow. I have to go and manually disconnect them or like open and reclose the case. If the case doesn't have any battery left in it, putting them in there won't shut the things off either. So I have to go in and manually disconnect them. However, the other thing is that I Um, the other thing is that um, where was I on that? Oh no, I was just adding that about that. So like, yeah, they were uncomfortable. I was getting ready to like get rid of them anyways. I'm like, I don't really need these anymore. I guess, whatever. So I decided to get a, you know, I was like, oh no, that's not how it went. I guess how it went was more like I'm just like curious. I have all these different things to listen to, so I'm gonna like try looking, at all of these and see like, what sounds the best from all my things. And with side by side comparisons, I tried these different things out. Um, so some of the things I compared to were like I had these, I think they're like H10 headset by Let's Com. That thing, I have to test if that has a microphone in it too. I think because I think it might. And I always thought that thing sounded decent, but especially listening back to back with things, it actually sounds really bad. Those are like over ear headphones with wireless Bluetooth things. I don't know if it's because it's an older Bluetooth thing or it's just cheaper. I don't know. But basically, listening to the audio on that is like, wow, everything sounds very muffled and kind of low quality. The bass is there, which is nice, but it's like, um, there's also a button to boost bass, which just makes things even more muffled. Everything feels like there's just kind of like a weird like layer of something over it that's padding everything to make it sound bassier, I guess. And they're actually not that good. I might just get rid of those to be quite honest. Another thing is that I tried, which probably gave me the best audio, was plugging in. I have a little adapter that just has lightning on one end and then a standard headphone jack on the other, and I used my Sony MDR. I think 7506 is the number, I think, the studio reference headphones. And I mean, you can plug any headphones into there with that, the audio jack like that. But I put those in, and they sounded fantastic. Um, Sounded great. Um, like they sounded easily the best because they just sound like those headphones. Those are just really nice headphones. Um, and make stuff sound like the way it was mastered and everything. So I really like those. But of course, I use the Soundpeats Engine 4s, and those sounded the same. They sounded like they normally do. Um, but I think the contrast there as well, like compared to like the H10, it's like wow, yeah, these things are like super clear. Um, oh, I guess I didn't. Whatever, it's a ramble. It doesn't matter that I'm kind of scatterbrained, right? So another part of that is the fact that like when I would wear the Soundpeats, they would sort of fall out of my head a little bit. Like they would slowly work their way out of my ears enough so that I could get them kind of crammed in just right, and then they would like everything would sound pretty good and stuff, but then they would slowly work their way out as I was just like walking or like moving my mouth at all, and then the bass would kind of go away and things would get like audio would change, and if I let it go, sometimes I don't think I think one did fall out once. Um, because I just let it go. I'm like, is it really gonna fall out, or is it just gonna feel like it? And most of the time, they just feel like it, but that time it actually did fall out. So eventually, they probably will. They're not gonna work for like. I'm not gonna be running or anything, but like, yeah, they're not great for that. But then I had my EarPods, the wired Apple headphones that I had since like my iPhone 8. I think they were still like wrapped up in the thing. I never actually took them out of the little like paper thing they were wrapped up in. And I listened to those, and I'm like, wow, these sound really good, like surprisingly good. Which I guess thinking about it makes sense. They are wired, um, so they have that big advantage over Bluetooth. I will say that as far as comparing them to the Soundpeats, the EarPods are not quite as good because they didn't have the same level of bass on them. The EarPods were definitely a little like they were good, but you can tell that there was like a little bit missing there. Um, I don't think the mids were quite as good either. So they weren't like they were very they were very crisp and like clear, but they didn't have quite the same like definition to the audio. I think is maybe how I would put it. And the thing is, I I was like, you know what? I'm interested now. I'm gonna field test these, see if I really want to use these. And so I used my earpods out. And like, oh, the other thing was that yes, they were very comfortable as well. That was a big thing. I had them in there. They don't really like cram into your ears. They don't have rubber tips on them. They just sit on your ear. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'll do that. Um, I think like they feel really nice. Um, but just super comfortable. They're in there, and you still kind of hear stuff around you as well because of that, which I actually like. Because especially if I'm out walking or something, I do want that if somebody does I could pause music or something or whatever, I don't have to like yank a thing out of my ear necessarily to hear, or it could, I guess, because it's just hanging on a cord or whatever, so I could do that if I need to. It is nice. The other thing though was like let's give it a field test. Let's just test it out. And I went out and I brought it to work. And I was walking back from work because like I could do it when I'm going to work, I guess. But I'm always like, I want to get there, and like I don't want like if a song isn't done, I don't want to like stop my song, or like I'm not gonna wait around extra time for my song to finish. Whereas walking home, sometimes I'll kind of like dilly dally, so like, oh yeah, I'll let the song play out. Um, but I was walking home from work, I was ready to go, and then I realized the problem. First of all, I had to take it out of my pocket and untangle the cord, which is pain in the ass. That's why you get Bluetooth ones. Also, a really big factor of those is they are not a pain in the ass like that, which is great. Um, uh, so yeah, it took me a while to untangle them. You can get the things to wrap the cords around. That's like extra work, and also I didn't have like the nice plastic cases that used to come in. I think if you get them from Apple's website, they will come with the little plastic cases to put them in and wrap around like that. But since mine was just a paper one, I didn't keep it. Um, and also like another thing is that like um, I put them in and I have this cable um, going from my ears down to my pocket where my phone is. So I feel like an idiot. It's like rubbing against there. They do kind of feel like they're going to fall out more because of this, because there's a cord on them and they're very light. And then like you kind of tugging on it as you're walking. So I was like, I like these, but they're not quite there. And that's really what turned me on to, hold on, Apple makes wireless ones, AirPods. And I started looking into that. And I'm looking at them. And it's like, oh, it sounds like AirPods, they could be the fix, right? Because they're wireless Bluetooth headphones. They'll, and they're like a similar shape. So I could just kind of like probably fit them in the same way and they'll be just as comfortable. So I started looking into that a bit, and it's also cool because the regular AirPods are cheaper than the Pros. The Pros have like the rubber tips on them, which would be better for more noise canceling and stuff, and also they have other fancy features that I don't necessarily need, and they're a lot more expensive. But the regular AirPods are cheaper and probably more comfortable for what I want, because I think the rubber tip thing is just was a big part of the issue. And I kind of was like, like I just got these, so I mentioned it like to my parents or whatever. I was like, they're like, "Do you want anything for your birthday?" And I'm like, I kind of casually mentioned those. I'm like, yeah, and AirPods, and I was like, yeah, just like the regular ones. And I was surprised to come home and be like, hey, open up a box and like, hey, here's your like AirPods in it. It's like, holy crap, that's crazy. Um, and I listened to them just last night. I listened to them a little bit. I was like, I was gonna test them out and end up listening to like multiple songs on because holy shit, these sound so good. I probably sound really weird. I was like, holy crap before and then holy shit. I don't know why. These sound so good. Now, obviously, they're not going to be hi-fi or anything. They're not going to be like audiophile equipment, but they are so good. They're like my immediate reaction has been like these seem, and we'll see if there's any quirks over time. But immediately, I'm like these are kind of like exactly what I wanted. They're like exactly what I expected and wanted, and they're kind of like perfect for what I want to do because. And these are the AirPods 4, so like the most recent ones. Um, and I basically I put them on. I looked at some of the settings on them. I turned off noise canceling because I like to kind of hear stuff around me. I have the ability to switch the fiddle with the stems, and you can switch settings and things. You don't have to use those to do anything. So I can just use. I usually just gonna use my phone to do things. Usually I have my phone on me, and I don't have to do hands-free stuff with it. So I'm just like, I'll go on my phone and do stuff with the media or anything that I need to do, which I like. And I like that. Like, there's not really like an app for it. It's just a thing that pops up in your settings after you connect them via Bluetooth or whatever. When they're in there, you're just like connected. Yeah, it's great. Um, they connected like super easy right away. I think I could probably. I'll have to see if they're like. I guess they're probably not going to be a problem since like I assume they'll also try to connect to my Mac if I open that up, my MacBook. I haven't tested that. I probably won't need that. Um, because I just don't plan on using that much for that purpose. I just use music on my phone, but I could. Which I guess also I didn't really mention this other part that I should have before. This all really started with I got YouTube Music Premium because I got YouTube Premium. So I was like, well, add free music streaming. So I thought I would start getting into that. And if I'm going to do that, I need wireless earbuds to do that. So um, yeah, that was kind of the incentive to try this in the first place. And then but yeah, like these AirPods have been really really good. They have they're very clean and crisp. They're not. I think they're maybe not quite as like crisp. I guess. I mean, are very good. Maybe they are. They are very crisp, especially like you kind of forget that these are Bluetooth when you're like listening to the music on them. They are like that good, which I guess makes sense because they are like, I mean, they are like $130 or something for these things. Like they're not like, they're not like cheap, but at this point, I feel like they're a pretty good value, and I guess we'll see again if anything weird pops up. Um, so I think I have a switch between like you can customize some of the settings on here. You can like switch between. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry. I'm a little scattered. I hope this isn't like you're not coming to this for an actual review. You're just hearing somebody ramble while you're trying to go to sleep of something maybe interesting. Um, and like I like that you can like you fiddle around with the stems to do stuff, and if you just want to adjust them in your ears, you hold them higher up, and like that way I don't have to fiddle with the stems at all. But you can like hold a thing to like change it to like these different sound modes. I don't like that I can't like make it not accidentally switch if I thought that did happen, but I like that it's like you know um, I can make it so that's just like no noise canceling, and I can switch it between that. And I think the other mode I have it set to is like um, I don't know if I have it set to regular noise canceling or if I have it set to like the secondary option to be if you like long hold it or whatever. If it's like because I have like transparency mode. I think it might be that one I set it to so that you can like hear stuff around you more. Or like I think it's supposed to be like if people are talking or something. Like conversation mode maybe like that. Where it's like if people talk or whatever, it'll like go down or whatever. I feel like if somebody's talking to me or whatever, like I don't know, I'd probably want to just put my stuff on pause, maybe take this out of my ear if I need to. Um, but yeah, I do like the option. I guess I like the option. I mean, like I might use there might be situations where I want noise canceling. I could try that. I also didn't do any of the fancy stuff for like check out the insides of my ear to like determine stuff or whatever. Like I could just kind of like essentially I could just plug this in and play and just use it if I wanted to, and it would probably be fine. Which again is excellent. It's something you want with a product like this because there are people who are not going to want to sit here and fiddle through menus. Um, and I like that there's not like it doesn't seem like there's any like other than like those particular modes. There's not really like a listening like they're not giving you options for like here's different sound profiles. Like no, it just sounds the way it sounds. And the super surprising thing is that not that it's clear because I expected it would still be clear. Although I am impressed at just how like clear this does sound. But also the amount of bass that you're getting because again these things aren't like crammed deep into your ear. Although I guess the further you push them in, the more bass you're going to get still as well. But like these aren't like crammed into my ear. They're like resting like just outside of it. And like they bump. They have a surprising amount of bass in them and it's awesome. There are times where again, like depending on how you have it in your ear, it might be like too much. You can kind of try to readjust it and things, but like it is very good. Um, So I'm just kind of blown away by just how good it sounds. And I really like it. I really like the sound, and they're super comfortable so far. I mean, like I wouldn't say you're gonna have the same kind of long sessions you would have with like over the ear proper headphones, but they are they don't feel like they're gonna fall out. They're not like uncomfortably, wedged into my ears. Every once in a while, they might feel a little bit like they're moving out a bit, and if they do, if you move around and singing along and stuff, or whatever, you can kind of just like tap on like the part that's like in your ear and like push them in more, and they'll be fine. So like it's very good. I'm really overall like my first impressions were like I'm super happy with these, and I was excited, and I had a minute here to ramble about it, so I thought I'll do that with a minute. I was almost like 25 minutes. I've done now, and it's like yeah, I wanted to talk about it because I was super excited, especially because I recorded a video a little bit before where I was like excited about using those. But they're like so far, yes, they're like getting something that's exactly what you like hoped it would be is like it's a very satisfying experience. And it's one of those where depending on how long these last, I would probably replace them with more AirPods in the future. I think the only thing I didn't really do with them so far, I mean, I tested all the modes and stuff, and I'm probably not going to do it because I'm not a reviewer. I'm like, I like how it's working right now, I like how it sounds, I'm going to keep it. I don't have access to, like, I think it's like a spatial audio thing, I think is what it is. I don't have access to that because you need to have I need to have like I don't know if it has to be specifically the latest version of iOS, or just has to be like iOS 18, some version of that. I'm still on 17. I haven't gone to 18 because I have an iPhone 14. Um, and it's not going to take advantage of most of the features that I would get from iOS 18. So that's why. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to update to get that. But I don't have to. And that's also great. I'm glad I didn't have to update my operating system to use the AirPods because, to be honest with you, I was going to. If they were going to force me to, I would have. But they didn't. And I don't need all the fancy bells and whistles. I just need, I just want, you know, like with regular headphones, I want them to be more like that. It's basically as close to that kind of experience as possible. I want to put my headphones on, you plug them in, you put them on, and you listen. And that's all you got to do, right? And with these, you open up the case, put them in your ears, hit play. After you do the setup stuff, anyway, hit play, and you can listen to stuff, and it's great. And uh, And they also shut off when, like, you put them in the case and close it, and then they shut off that way. So I don't know how long it's going to last or anything. Internet connections, I think, so I can see, like, my battery and stuff on here, like how charged they are and stuff. And you can, like, I don't know. And the case is also very thin. I think the case is maybe a little taller than the Soundpeats case because these things have the long stems on them, but they're also, like, thinner. It's like a thinner case. It's nice. I don't know. It is really nice. So I don't know. It's like also like yeah, in the box is like you get the case with the AirPods in them, and you got I guess the only thing you would knock them for that like it's very minimal packaging, but the only thing you would knock them for on that is the fact that they don't have they don't have the cable to charge them, which it charges via USB-C, so you probably have a cable to charge them. And I think the thought process behind it too, especially with since these are like new, the whole thought process is probably well, you are probably getting these to listen to on your, you're getting these to listen to either on your iPhone or maybe like a Mac of some sort, like a MacBook or something. I guess they assume you probably, but most likely an iPhone. You probably have a charging cable with USB-C on it to charge it. So I guess that makes sense. Um, And so I guess I could have probably waited until I had, some time using it walking home from work, but it's probably on, unless that something changes. I need to update, I guess. If that'll be an interesting video, maybe. But yeah, this has been just a little ramble. That was actually longer than I thought it would be. I didn't know I'd be talking for this long about this thing, but it's just, I don't know. I just have these weird tech journeys sometimes, and I'm like, I want to listen to I want to like do this thing or whatever, and check out these different options available to me. And it again, it feels really good to like be like, I want something that ticks all of these boxes, and then I find something that does it the way I want it to. And I haven't found much for compromises right now, other than like, I guess you could say like the price. Um, and like again, these aren't going to be as comfortable as like more padded options that fit properly, because like right now my right ear I can feel a bit is like it's a little sore because this thing's been in here for this long, and it's not like that long, so I probably have to shuffle that around a bit because these are just like I am just you know shoving plastic in my ear. But um, yeah, I really like this, so I'm pretty happy with what I've got, and yeah, so I would share that. So I don't know if we'll do this for the ramble, and I might try to get a picture of some sort of the earbud style thingamajigs and have that be the picture for the video. I guess we'll see what happens, but yeah. So thanks for listening, and hopefully the audio in this sounds okay. Again, I should probably try out the audio in those other two things I mentioned with Bluetooth on them, because I guess apparently that does work in voice memos at first. And to give you a little behind the scenes for recording this, I actually was going to try to do it in the video app. You can't do it in the camera app. It only captures either your internal mic or one that's plugged in through like the actual USB-C port, or I guess Lightning port on mine, whatever. It's plugged into it directly. I have an adapter to plug other stuff in if I want, I guess. And then yeah, you pretty much have that. So I was looking up how can I do this, and for some reason they said it didn't work on the phone. You had to get a third-party app, and I guess that was true. For video, you have to do that, but to just record the microphone. Well, also quick thing to say is I think I got like Filmic Pro, and like basically they wanted me to do a free trial, but they wanted me to pay money to use it. I'm like, I only use it like once. I don't want to do that. And so I was like, no, I didn't forget it. I'm not going to give you billing information for this. You're going to ask for that. I don't want you to accidentally charge me. So I was like, no. So I deleted it because it was not going to let me do it in this little like preview look at it. So that was a bust. But then I looked again and I was like, oh yeah, you can just do it in voice memos. It will use your AirPods or whatever, like your Bluetooth stuff, just fine. Like, okay, so I think the others should work. I'll check, and if they do, then we'll have two more rambles with these things. I guess probably more about each one, which I might be a little bit repeating myself. I guess maybe I'll try to find a different ramble, at least for the sound peats, since I talked rather extensively about them. I guess so. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. So hopefully you find some of this interesting to some degree. If you were like stayed awake and were paying attention, if you just did this to kind of zone out and whatever, that's fine too. That's probably better. That's probably optimal that you do that, because I mean I do not see myself as being super entertaining or knowledgeable. So all right, I think that'll do it. Hopefully this all comes out okay. Have a great day.